Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are the Lions.
Hey, the sun is out in Philadelphia, and live from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Fox Sports Ohio presents Cincinnati Reds baseball. Reds fans coming in from Pennsylvania to Philadelphia to watch the Reds hopefully take the final of this three-game set. It's the Reds against the Philadelphia Phillies. Hi, hello, and welcome to Philadelphia, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch and Jim Day, I'm George Grant. You know, I haven't been in Philadelphia for the last 5 years, and Chris told me when this series started that some strange things have been happening here for the Reds. And Chris, you've been right the last two nights.
Well, you're right, George, but have you ever been involved in something that just has gone the wrong way? You put a lot of effort in, you work hard, it could be a science project, it could be your garden at home, and it just doesn't go right. Well, that's the way the Reds feel, especially when they come here to Philadelphia. I mean, they've given up 2 games in a row and losing in horrible, ugly fashion. So you're wondering, here's a team that lost 9 games in a row. They come back, they tease you with a sweep of the Washington Nationals. They lose 2 more games to the worst team in the National League, in this division, and you wonder what's going on. Well, you know what, folks? Don't give up on them. Because they're your Reds, they're my Reds, I love the Reds, you love the Reds, and they're always going to be your team. So now, what you can do to help the Reds is give them a big hug. And I don't mean a figurative hug. I mean right now at home, you're on your couch, you spread your arms real wide, and you bring Brian Price and the rest of the Reds team right in your fold, and you give them a good tight hug and say, you know what, Reds, you're my team. I love you. And give them some affirmation and some confidence. And believe me, this is a ball club we're going to watch the rest of the year. Whether we want to or not, you're going to see this ball club, and there may not be the same guys here at the end of the year that you see right now, but they're working hard, they're trying, and they're your Reds, and they're my Reds, so let's go get them.
There's your pep talk. We've got baseball to talk about. DeSclafani and Harang will be the starting pitchers. When we return, we'll tell you the story of this one on Fox Sports Ohio.
the last 2 nights, and you. Last 3 games, Brandon 7 for 15. That's a .467 clip. 2 doubles, a home run, and 4 runs driven in. And that average is back up above 300 now at 303. Hopefully, that dude BP will be setting the table again tonight with Votto and Frazier hitting behind him. The Reds need a victory, and they might even need a hug, George Grant.
You got it, JB. We're ready for baseball here at Citizens Bank Ballpark. Brandon Phillips and company ready to go to work. Let's check the Meyer starting lineup for Brian Price and the Reds. By the way, Brian Price today was added to Bruce Bochy's National League coaching staff for the All-Star game in Cincinnati. Phillips will lead it off. Votto bats second. Todd Frazier in the number 3 spot looking for his first hit in the series. Jay Bruce, who's been on base for 16 straight games, will be hit behind him in the number 4 spot. The switch hitting Brian Pena. Then Cozart, Schumacher in left. He's Clefani hits 8th and Hamilton in the number 9 position. And on the mound, a familiar face, the big body of Aaron Harang.
Well, he's always been a big guy, 6 feet 7 inches tall, about 260 or a little bit above that for Aaron Harang, and having just a tremendous year. After signing a 1-year deal, really, but right before Christmas time with the Phillies, they came right after him with a 1-year deal, and he has dealt and given them exactly what they needed, plus some. One of the best earned run averages in the league, and a guy that is just very comfortable here at age 37 as to where he is in life.
At age 37, 75 of his total wins have been as a Cincinnati Red. Joined the Reds in 2003, had some big win seasons in the mid-2000s. There's Brandon. There's a bullet into right for a base hit. Phillips continues his heavy hitting. Takes a big turn at first and will hold there. Phillips 7 for 15 in this last 3 games, and he continues the heavy hitting with this rocket to right.
I mean, everything he hits has been a rocket. I mean, every other line drive that we've seen Phillips hit has really been to left field. But evidently he's thinking about going to right field, and not only does he go there, he does it with a rocket shot right over the head of the first baseman. And he is just as hot as a firecracker.
You know, Chris, we talk about how he's evolved as a hitter. There were times when he had that higher leg kick, and now if you watch him, it's just a quick flip of the toe tap, and that's it. And he gets the foot down fast, and he's been making great contact. So he's at first, and here's Joey. Joey's average back to 293, 10 homers, 28 knocked in. Had a big-time home run in this series, 5 for 11, 4 knocked in, a 428-foot homer to left center field. Reds trying to get a lead early. Harang from the stretch delivers up high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Votto in his career 3 for 6 and a homer against Harang. Obviously, a lot of the Reds have seen Aaron throughout his career. Short lead for Phillips at first. Howard holds him on. That's inside. How is this Aaron Harang different from the Aaron Harang who pitched from the Reds, Chris?
You're going to see him pitch up in the strike zone a little bit more. He's a guy that has always been a fly ball pitcher, but he was really torn when he was younger in his career as to whether he wanted to keep the ball down around the knees, conventional thinking, or pitch upstairs. And he pitches upstairs. He gets a lot of fly balls.
Votto hits this high in the air to right. He hit it right on the button, but straight up in the air. Francoeur under it. He'll haul it in. Votto's retired. He didn't miss that one by much. And speaking of ground ball, fly ball pitcher, let's add it up for the most fly balls in the NL, Chris.
And you would think that this really doesn't translate in Citizens Bank Park, which is very much like Great American Ballpark, which gives up a lot of home runs. These are 2 ballparks where they say fly ball pitchers go to die. But Aaron Harang so far this year has done very well here, and he gets a lot of not only fly balls like you saw Joey Votto hit, but pop-ups in the infield, teasing hitters with pitches just right above the strike zone.
Here's Frazier, hits this one towards the alley in left center field. That's going to be 1 hop off the wall. Phillips around third. Riggleman's going to send him. Here comes the throw all the way to the plate, and he will be safe. So Todd Frazier finally gets off the schneid. 0 for 10 in the series coming in. He said before the game today, watch me, I'm back on the beam. And boy, is he with this swing. His 12th double of the season. And the Reds again take an early lead 1-0.
Well, he took advantage of a hanging breaking ball, and boy, did he put a good level swing on that. Harang's trying to work that ball on the outer part of the plate. It hangs up around the letters, and he's got tons of power. I'll tell you what, for Brandon Phillips, if he's got a problem with one of his toes, it certainly doesn't look like it the way he's been running.
He gives the Reds an early lead, 1-0, and that'll bring up Jay Bruce. Bruce at 226, 7 homers and 23 knocked in, with Frazier in scoring position now. The Phillies from time to time will overshift on Bruce. They do not here with the runner on second base. Although Galvis, the shortstop, is almost directly behind the second base bag. Jay 2 for 6 in the series coming in. Couple of walks again last night. On base 16 straight games by a hit or a walk. Tom Hallion's your home plate umpire. He's calling balls and strikes. Bruce Dreckman at first, Alfonso Marquez at second, and Dan Bellino's your third base umpire. From the stretch, Harang. Misses, 2 balls and a strike to the Reds right fielder. In his career, Jay is 2 for 11 against Harang. The guy who's seen Harang the most, ironically, isn't a former Red. It's Skip Schumacher, 10 for 38 and a homer against Aaron. Only Harang and only Schumacher and Votto have homered against Harang. Slap to the left side, curving. Is there going to be room? It is caught. Franco loves it for the out.
Well, this kid's a doing-all man for the Phillies in this series. I mean, he's come up with huge home runs, and here he comes up with a nice little bit of defense right here. Almost topples over the rail.
Michael Franco, a home run to tie game 1 of the series that the Phillies won in the 9th, and a homer to tie game 2 of the series, a game the Phillies won in the 11th. And he comes up with a fine glove job there. So Bruce retired, and here's Pena. Brian at 294, no homers, 6 knocked in. This is a rebuilding Phillies team. The youngsters on the left side of the infield, the right side of the infield, of course, the veterans Utley at second and Howard at first. Pena in his matchups with Harang 2 for 3. Zach Cozart is on deck. Final of the 3-game set. Reds will head home after tonight's ball game, and the Padres come to town. In fact, it was in San Diego that Aaron Harang really resurrected his career. He left Cincinnati in 2010. In 2011, he went from a 6-7 record and an ERA of over 5.5. And next year in San Diego was 14-7 and the 3.6 ERA. That was a big ballpark to get your bearings back, Chris. This one blooped into left. Ashe coming in. He'll glove it. The Reds get a couple of hits, including a double that plates the first run. Cincinnati leads at 1-0. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, being brought to you by Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy, check out our award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Hey, feeling good? It's Skyline time. Baseball time here in Philadelphia. The Reds with a run in the first, lead at 1-0. We'll go to the bottom of one. Let's check the starting lineup for Hall of Famer Ryne Sandberg, the veteran infielder and now the manager here in Philadelphia. Ben Revere leads it off. Veteran Jeff Francoeur bats second. Utley and Howard together 3 and 4. Michael Franco, who has 2 big home runs against the Reds in the 5 spot. Ashe, Galvis, Ruiz, and Harang hits 9th. And here's Anthony DeSclafani.
Well, only 25 years old. Anthony on a little bit of a run himself after pitching very fine games his last 2 times out. Once against the Indians. His last start, a win against the Washington Nationals. You got to figure that Anthony's a little nervous tonight. I mean, he's from nearby here. He's from Colts Neck, New Jersey, which is about an hour away. He's got 30 friends and family here to watch him pitch. Not the first time he's pitched here at Citizens Bank Park. He has pitched here before as a member of the Marlins. But a little special night tonight, coming back and being in the rotation this time of the year, facing the Phillies, a team that he watched as he was growing up.
And ironically, if all goes as planned, he will pitch against Philadelphia today. The Phillies come to town next week, and it'll be the exact same matchup. He'll face Harang next week, as will Mike Leake face Cole Hamels next week. This one rifle to right. There goes Bruce going over and can't get it. It's off his glove. It'll roll all the way to the 398 sign. Rounding second, going to third is Revere. And the man who leads the National League in triples now with 5 is sitting on third.
Boy, when you say baseball is a game of inches, I mean, you can either break that down to maybe half inches, because if this ball had just been a half inch closer to Jay Bruce, I think he gets it in the webbing of his glove, and it's an out instead of a triple.
The speedy Revere sitting on third. The Reds will keep the infield back and give up the run to get an out. And here's Francoeur. Jeff last night hitting in the number 2 spot. Did have a big base hit in the 9th inning and had 2 of the biggest at bats of the evening. One in the 9th, one in the 10th. 2 lengthy at bats for a guy that strikes out a lot. He battled and fouled off 5 pitches in the 8th and then 3 more in the 9th to take it to 3-2 counts. 2 key at bats for the Phillies last night. Always has the big swing, has always had power, but has always been susceptible to the strikeout. And is always one of the best arms in the game of baseball throughout his career. Originally a brilliant high school athlete in Georgia. Shunned a college career at Clemson and signed with the Braves. Hard hit ball down to second. Phillips will take care of it. The run will score, and we're tied. So it's a 4-3 put out, but the run scores. We're tied at 1.
Now, Francoeur had one of the better at-bats we've seen in a long time last night against Mike Leake. Kept it alive for about 10 pitches before he finally busted a base hit into right field. And that's what set up the entire rally for the Phillies to come back and eventually beat the Reds. He hit that ball very sharply.
Mike Leake victimized last night. Boy, did he pitch brilliantly. Leake 8+ innings. Gave up only 3 hits. 2 of those came in the 9th. Both of them wound up scoring when Chapman came in and did not complete the save opportunity. Mike was brilliant last night. For those of you that weren't with us, Chris, give us the difference between Mike Leake of last night and the last couple of starts.
He threw the ball exactly where he wanted to. I mean, he rarely missed his spot last night, and when he didn't miss it over the center of the plate. And really, that's talking with Aaron Harang, that's what his secret has been this year. That's why his earned run average, Harang that is, down to 2.0. And Leake really got back on the horse that he was riding through the month of April, which is throwing the ball with aggressiveness and going right after the hitters, but also being able to throw the ball where he wanted to.
Fouled off by Utley. Chase, the average now over 200. At one point he was down to 188. Now back up to 204. 4 homers and 23 knocked in. Utley, game 1 of the series, ripped his 4th home run of the year. That got the Phillies close in the 6th, and they tied it in the 8th. There's a rocket shot down the right field line. It is one hop off the base of the wall, and it kicks away from Bruce. Utley will turn around second, but will slam on the brakes there.
Yeah, it looks like DeSclafani just trying to go up the ladder. Maybe he wanted to get that ball inside because that's where Pena was set up. And I mean, it is right in the wheelhouse for Utley. Good short stroke. An 0-2 pitch that gets hit that hard. You're not throwing it where you want to, and that happens.
He had designs on third, but Bruce got to it rapidly, so he holds at second. And here's Howard. The Reds will overshift on Ryan. Ryan at 239, 10 homers, 25 knocked in. Utley, one of the best base stealers throughout his career in the National League, has lost some speed with the knee and leg difficulties. But if Frazier strays too far from that bag, he'll pick his pocket. 1 ball, 1 strike. Broken bat behind the bag, gobbled up by Cozart. He'll get the out. Well, there's one case again where the shift certainly robs Ryan Howard, and from what the Phillies tell us in their statistical analysis, that is the 16th potential base hit that Howard has been robbed of due to the shift. A check report defensive alignment for the Reds. The Reds at one point, either first or second for the first month of the season in defense, have dropped all the way down to the number 5 spot with the errors that they've committed in this series. Schumacher, Hamilton, Bruce in the outfield, Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, Votto across the infield, and Pena catching DeSclafani. Cincinnati now with 25 errors on the season. And here is the main culprit to the Reds' first 2 games of the series. Michael Frankel hit a hanging breaking ball on the inner part of the plate for a home run in game 1 of the series. That came in the 8th inning to tie the game at 4, and the Phillies won it in the 9th. And then last night he hit a 3-run homer, and this will get in another one. Frankel continues to burn the Reds. He splits the outfielders into center field, and he'll have a 2-base hit. Another run batted in, and the Phillies take the lead 2-1. Triple double in the Phillies in this inning.
Well, it looks to me right now that DeSclafani is trying to throw the ball too hard rather than really concentrate on that location. He's just kind of rearing back and trying to get his stuff to get these hitters out. Right now it's not working.
So runner in scoring position again, and here's Cody Ashe. He's in at 256, a couple of homers and 4 knocked in. And under this one, sky high fly ball into right center. Who's going to take charge on this windy night? Hamilton does, and that'll do it. But 6 come to the plate. A triple and 2 doubles, and the Phillies take a 2-1 lead. alignment for the homestanding Philadelphia Phils, who come into tonight's ball game 13th in the league with 38 errors. Ashe, Revere, Francoeur in the outfield. Franco, Galvis, Utley, Howard, and Ruiz behind the plate for Harang. Here's Aaron. Zach Cozart will lead it off facing Harang. He's 3 for 10 against him. Schumacher will follow, and then DeSclafani in the number 8 spot. Off the end of the bat, Galvis. Got him by half a step, and there's one away.
Aaron Harang made his major league debut at age 24. A couple of years later, he was drafted, or he was traded to the Reds. Those are the numbers that he put up with the Reds. And overall, that record, even though it's 5 games under 500, I mean, you can look back at that 2003 trade, and you can make an argument that that may have been one of the best ever trade deadline deals the Reds have ever made. And the guys that did it weren't even regular general managers. They were the fill-in guys. Jim Bowden had been removed as general manager. Inserted in his place to assume operations were Brad Coleman and Leland Maddox. So they were interim GMs. The Oakland A's were looking for a slugger. The Reds had one named Jose Guillen. And Guillen was off to a great year. Even though he didn't even make the team out of spring training, Guillen came up and he was leading the team in home runs. He was leading the team in runs batted in. And they cut a deal at the trade deadline to bring this guy in. I think he was about 23 at the time, maybe 24. And Aaron Harang turned in 3 years later to be one of the best pitchers in the National League.
And the other part of that equation was Bob Boone, who was the manager at that time, who, a California native, had scouted Harang well. Howard will gobble it up. Schumacher's retired, and there's 2 away. And Chris, you know, you add up all the numbers, that tells you part of the story of Aaron Harang, but he and his wife Jen and the kids, they were so much a part of the Reds family. You know, he did so much in the community when he was there, and was one of the best teammates you could ask for.
There's no doubt about it. And a lot, you know, you bring up San Diego, George, where he resurrected his career, but some people will say he also ruined his career in San Diego. It was, what, a 15-inning game that he came back a couple of days after he had started, and volunteered to pitch, and he really was never the same after that. And I think Dusty Baker caught a lot of flack over that, unjustified, because Aaron Harang will tell you to this day it had nothing at all to do with Dusty Baker. He was fine after that outing, but he came back maybe from some injuries that a little bit too soon, knowing that he was the horse of the rotation and that they were depending on him, and he never let himself get completely rested or completely healed.
He was in sneakers at the ballpark in San Diego, the old ballpark, Jack Murphy Stadium, and volunteered to fill the gap in the extra inning game. Howard giving chase. Will he get there? Yes, he will. And that'll be it. 1, 2, 3 for the Reds as DeSclafani pops out. DeSclafani back to the mound. Galvis will lead it off. Help serious lawyers for serious injuries. When you break down Anthony DeSclafani's numbers prior to today's ball game, look at the way he's gone against left-handers. In wins, the 5 that he's been involved in, or the team has won, opponents have hit .214, and losses .293. Numbers, Chris, tell an interesting story of Anthony.
Well, they do. In those 2 games, George, one was against the Cleveland Indians, and they ran 8 left-handers out there against DeSclafani that night. In fact, the only guy that got 2 hits, he only gave up, I think, 4 hits in the entire ballgame. But the only guy that got hits was Jason Kipnis, and Kipnis was the player of the month. So he was hitting everybody. The Nationals ran 3 lefties in the lineup against DeSclafani. He held them 2. So he has figured out a way to do that with a sinking fastball and a changeup, well spotted down and away. But right now, he's throwing a lot of pitches thigh high, center cut. That's a bad start.
Here's Galvis to lead it off as we go to the bottom of 2. Freddie at .275, a homer, 12 knocked in. Waves at that for a strike, and it's 0-2.
You know, by contrast with Aaron Harang, DeSclafani is at his best when he's down around the hollow of the knees. He has to live downstairs to do that. That's when he gets the most action on that fastball.
Looped into left. Schumacher has it, and there's your first out of the 2nd inning.
And it's kind of interesting, too, because I don't know if there's a way that we can measure it, but Aaron Harang is 6'7", and DeSclafani is probably 6'3", maybe 6'2". And DeSclafani strides nearly as long as Aaron Harang does. Aaron Harang, for his size, has a very short stride, kind of a short arm action, and gets his arm up behind his right ear very quickly. DeSclafani, as you see, has a longer stride, a very long arm action, and it takes him a little bit longer to load up because he reaches straight down to the ground when he gets that ball out of his glove. He's got to buy his arm some time to get it up, and that's one reason why he strides so long.
Bounce it down to 3rd. Frazier has it across Votto, and there's 2 away. In fact, when you go back in, if you looked at video of Aaron Harang when he first came over from Oakland to where he is today, there might not be a pitcher in all of baseball that changed his mechanics more dramatically. He had a big, long, wieldy mechanical motion before, and little by little he shortened it. I mean, he could not control the running game at all, and his short stride and his compact motion. And here's Aaron sending this one to right. It certainly changed the way he became one of the more effective pitchers in the league. 1-2-3 for DeSclafani. When we return, Billy to the bat rack.
Philadelphia. I'm Jim Day. We've told you 1,000 times that not only does the Reds have a great organization, but the best fans in baseball, and you fans out there, according to WalletHub.com, you have a terrific city that hosts the Cincinnati Reds. They did a story on the best baseball cities in America. And the Reds are ranked the 3rd best baseball city. They have the best accessible stadium and the fifth most friendly and engaging fan base. Now, they base this on 11 key metrics, such as performance level of the team, average ticket price, minimum season ticket price, stadium accessibility, fan engagement. And the Cincinnati Reds come in 3rd. So the rest of the country, if they log on to WalletHub.com, knows what we've known all along. George and Chris.
You're right, JD. All of us that, of course, been around the Queen City, we know full well what a great baseball city it is and how welcoming people are. And the All-Star Game will be just another example of an opportunity for fans to experience that. And there have been a number of people we've seen here in Philadelphia that are planning to come to Cincinnati for the All-Star Game. Interestingly, Chris, the Phillies have had All-Star games here back in 43, 52, and 76 and 96 at the old ballpark, but not here. So it's something that certainly will be a bona fide special place. Michael Lorenzen, he will get the opportunity to apply his work against the Padres this weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Reds come home. This one, Billy Hamilton will bloop to left. It'll go foul, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, we just saw Hamilton do something I have not seen him do in a long time, which is actually fake a bunt and then pull it back. And he had the guys on the corner infield, I mean, scurrying all over the place. That's a great strategy, and it doesn't really cost much.
It's the old Brett Butler move. Pull the third baseman in a couple of steps, then slap the ball right by him. Orang, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Billy. Center field, Revere is there. The Reds have a brilliant center fielder in Billy. Revere has great wheels for the Phillies in center, too. And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Pleasant night for baseball. Still a little chilly for the month of June, but after the last 2 nights, rain all through game number 1 and intermittent showers yesterday, best day of the 3. Here's Brandon. Started it off for the Reds with a single to right, later scored on a double by Frazier. In his career now 3 for 12 against Aaron Harang. Phillips and Votto are 2 guys that have, for the Reds on the road, have been money in the bank. I mean, coming in, Phillips at 374, Votto at 347 on the road. Both of them, though, are in the low 200s at home. A rocket to left, going back, looking up, reaching up, and hauling it in is Ashe. Nice catch by the left fielder, and another ball hit right on the button by Phillips.
I'm telling you, it's like Brandon Phillips is teeing up Pro V1s up at home plate. I mean, it is one rocket after another. I mean, he took a wild, crazy swing at the very first pitch, obviously looking fastball, getting breaking ball, but he guessed right that time. Man, guy is hitting it.
You look back at the 3 games of this series, there's only been 2 at bats where he has not hit the ball hard. One was a strikeout, and the other came after he hit a long line drive down the left field line. He walked. Every other at bat, he's hit the ball right on the nose. Here's Joey. A 1-hopper. Glove by Utley. He pops up and throws him out. 2 fine defensive play by the Phillies. 1 by Ashe, 1 by Utley. And the Reds go 1, 2, 3 in the 3rd. Chase chases this one down brilliantly. Friday's at Great American Ballpark. Friday, cheer on your Reds when they take on the Padres. Plus, stick around after the game for the spectacular fireworks show presented by Kroger and Reds Home Team Products. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Back to the top of the order, Ben Revere, who tripled to right center field first time up and scored on a ground out by Frank Hoore. And he's 2 for 2. He slices that one past Phillips into center. Got a leadoff hitter on for the Phils for the second of 3 innings. And that'll bring up Frank Hoore, who bounced to second, but plated the run with the infield back in the first inning. DeSclafani from the stretch. He'll toss over there. In the first base coach's box for the Phillies, veteran coach and former outstanding infielder, great stolen base operative, Juan Samuel. And Pete Buchanan is the third base coach, once the interim manager for the Reds. There's Sammy. Been around a long time, Chris.
He has been, and he was a pretty good base runner in his day, as you said, George. And they may try to run a little bit against DeSclafani. He's had a hard time keeping runners close because he's somewhat deliberate to the plate. That leg lift that he has is a little peculiar. It really gets him to be able to load up his hips and be able to drive to the plate, but it takes just a microsecond or two longer to get it to the plate, and that's why he's given up 8 stolen bases. They've only thrown out 1.
Phillies have had some great base stealing coaches here. Samuel, one of them. In fact, Sammy still holds the Phillies single season record with 75, and before that, Davey Lopes helped a lot of these young Phils. There he goes, gets a big break, but it's popped back and out of play. He had that one stolen easily. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Caught only 3 times he's been on the year. Not going this time. Broken bat down to third. Frazier will go to second for 1. Quick flip. Not in time. And a good job by Phillips as Revere slammed right into him. Phillips able to get something on the throw, but not enough to get Frank Hoore.
Well, that was a courtesy slide if you'll ever see one. The jam shot off the bat. Takes a long time to develop, but Revere goes in head first. Thank you very much. Wouldn't want to play hard-nosed baseball or anything.
I didn't think they were going to get him at first and second base.
When's the last time you've seen that? I know he didn't learn that from Juan Samuel or Larry Boa.
Utley swinging left field. There's Schumacher. He'll glove it. Tagging at first. Heading to second. They got a shot at him, and Frank Hoore is going to be nailed. Base running mistake by Frank Hoore. A great throw by Schumacher, and the base runner erased. So the Reds get out of a runner on jam. Great play by Schumacher. Reds back to work, trailing by 1. Here we go to the fourth. Todd Frazier will lead it off for the Reds. Bruce and Pena to follow. 2 quick innings for DeSclafani. 2 7-pitch innings after a 20-pitch first inning. Frazier doubled in a run in the first. That misses down and away for ball 1. Todd 0 for 10 in the series prior to today's game. His double got the Reds on the board in the first inning. That's a strike. Underway, Cubs at Washington. Due to play tonight. Mets at Arizona, St. Louis at the Dodgers later on. American League today. Oakland beat Detroit 7-5. Baltimore over Houston 3-2. And Minnesota beat Boston 8-4 in afternoon baseball. Count evens up at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bruce on deck, Pena to follow. Down to third, backing up is Franco. 1 away.
We talked about Aaron Harang being 6 feet 7 inches tall, but not a very long stride for a guy. Let's compare him to Anthony DeSclafani. DeSclafani on your left, Aaron Harang on your right. Now you would figure that Harang would stride much farther than DeSclafani would, but you can see when he lands, he's got kind of a straight leg down, although DeSclafani's is on an angle right there. So there's more stride action here for DeSclafani than there is for Aaron Harang.
Bruce 3 hopper to the second baseman, Utley 2 away.
And it's interesting to note that because early in his career, everywhere where Aaron Harang has been, pitching coaches will look at him and say, man, 6'8", 6'7", 265 pounds. There's got to be a lot more in that body than what you're showing us. So instead of throwing 93, they tried to get him to throw 99 and have a longer stride. So the longer he would stride, the flatter his breaking stuff would be, the more his back would hurt, and the worse he would end up pitching. So he finally got to a point where I'm not doing it anymore. He stayed within himself, has a nice short stride, and has much better control because he keeps his head still. So it just goes to show you when it comes to pitching or hitting that, you know, you can't pigeonhole players into a certain style when it doesn't fit either their body type or, you know, the way they want to be.
No balls, 2 strikes, fouled off to Pena. The other side of that is the best pitching coaches will understand that. When he went to San Diego, we talked to Buddy Black, and they talked about what he needed to do to be successful. And when he showed up here at spring training talking to Bob McClure, McClure says, what do you need to do to get ready? He didn't tell him what to do. He asked him, what do you need to do? And he and McClure were on the same page from day one.
Well, what they did with the Phillies here is that they went out and they ran their pitchers hard early in camp. And Harang's like, what? We're running timed polls here? Do you really want my back to lock up? So he ran with him. He didn't want to be like a guy that was trying to get out of working out hard. And a week into camp, his back locked up. And they came to him and said, hey, whatever you need to do, you do. I mean, after all, you're 37 years old. You know what is good for you.
And McClure's been around, too.
Yeah. Maybe even longer than Harang.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Back since the days of Wyatt Earp.
The mustache, anyways.
I mean, you're looking at Harang, a guy in 2006. He led the National League in starts, in wins, in strikeouts, in complete games. You get a guy with that kind of pedigree, you think that he would know his body and his style.
First walk he's allowed tonight. 2-out walk, and here comes Cozart. Bounced out first time up. And when you talk about the way he approaches his job, Chris, when you look at the Reds all time, where does he stand? Right there. He didn't issue many free passes.
Tell you what, that's a list of ace of the staffs right there.
And through his Reds tenure, he averaged about 185 innings a year. He was over 200 innings on 4 different occasions. Cozart steps up, checks string Riggleman down at third, who rolls through some signs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Schumacher on deck, your left fielder for tonight. Not even at 2-2. Another one of those unbalanced numbers. Cozart along with Phillips and Votto. Much better on the road so far. Change up way out in front, and that's a strikeout for Harang. Aaron Harang picks up his first strikeout of the evening. The Phillies still lead at 2-1.
Two of the runs, of course, the Phillies got were in the first inning, and that's when Anthony DeSclafani came out pretty much firing it right down Broadway. Let's take a look at the 4 hit locations where DeSclafani has given up very hard hit base hits, and you're going to see Ben Revere in the first. Chase Utley comes up, gets a pitch right over center cut and up. Same goes for Franco as he hit that ball to right center field. And Ben Revere again, a single to get the third inning going. But it seems like DeSclafani is settling in just a little bit, and that happens a lot to starting pitchers, where you come out early on and the mound is a little different than the warm-up mound, and you're missing your spots, and maybe you feel a little bit too strong and you have a tendency to just kind of rear back and see if you can throw it by them. But as the innings wear on and you get a few pitches under your belt, you find a little bit of a rhythm. And let's hope that's the case here for DeSclafani. He's made 2 very good pitches in this at bat now to Howard to start the inning off.
And you can add maybe being a little amped up with a lot of family and friends at Citizens Bank Ballpark tonight.
Yeah, good point.
Here's Howard. Ryan bounced to second in the first inning. Slaps that one foul. Count stays at no balls and 2 strikes. Overall, Howard at 238, 10 homers, 25 knocked in. You look at all the top 10 power categories for the Phils, and he's in the top 10 in Philly history. Trails only Mike Schmidt in total number of home runs. He's got over 300 home runs. Pop up. 1 away here in the 4th, and that'll bring up Franco.
As I mentioned, DeSclafani is from nearby. He's from Colts Neck, New Jersey. It's about an hour away. And it is part of the New York metropolitan area. In fact, it's a commuting city where people get on the train and they go into New York City. They had a number of people from Colts Neck who were killed in the terrorist attacks in 9/11. In fact, they've got a memorial in Colts Neck. It's a small community of about 10,000 people. But maybe other than Anthony DeSclafani, the most famous resident of Colts Neck, has the largest equestrian farm in town, and that would be Bruce Springsteen. So maybe if you're an autograph seeker, and if you ask DeSclafani real nice, George, maybe you get that CD signed.
We were lucky enough to have Bruce Springsteen with us when the Reds played the Cardinals and McGuire was going for his 70th home run. He came in the booth with us way back then. Fly ball out. They finally get Franco out, 2 away, and here comes Cody Ashe, fly to center first time up. The boss is still rolling, isn't he?
Oh, always will.
Big deep breath. The 25-year-old right-hander ready to deliver. Well, after a lengthy first inning of 20 pitches, when Revere tripled, Utley doubled, and Franco doubled, he had a 7-pitch second, a 7-pitch third, and trying to make quick work here in the fourth too.
You know, it looks like one adjustment that he's made, and it's a very slight one, but he looks like he sped his delivery up just a little bit. It kind of keeps you going. Sometimes when you have a long arm swing, and if you have too long of a slow delivery, you kind of get lazy with it. And he's got a little bit of hand action with his glove that kind of keeps his arm going and normally gets him where he needs to be.
First walk he's allowed, 2-out walk. Here comes Galvis, and a reminder, be a part of Major League Baseball's All-Star action by coming out to Great American Ballpark on All-Star Sunday, July 12th, for an exciting doubleheader. Tickets available now at allstargame.com. Hope you get a chance to be a part of the All-Star activities. It's a week of festivities in and around the Cincinnati area, not just the game itself on that Tuesday. Bloop to short, Cozart there, got him. 2 stranded by the Phillies. They lead it 2-1. When we return, Schumacher to the bat rack.
That not only is Philadelphia famous for their cheesesteaks, so is the Citizens Bank Visitors Clubhouse. In fact, they are consumed at an alarming rate. I was able to sample that product yesterday. And in there, right now, as you watch Mike Chernow, the guy that dials those things up, they have a little running tally on the refrigerator in there. They've been keeping stats since 2011 of which players and which team have consumed the most Philly cheesesteaks. And it hangs on the refrigerator, as we said, as Skip Schumacher steps in. Now they have records for a 1-day, 3-day span, and a 4-game series. And believe it or not, Corey Hart of the Brewers holds the record. He put down 7 cheesesteaks in 1 day in 2013. How about the Mets in 2014? As a team, ate 103 of those bad boys, and there is a Reds connection. And this is no surprise that Matt Latos, over a 3-day span, ate 14 of those, and over a 4-game series, ate 18 of those. As you look at the numbers right there, since 2011, over 12,000 cheesesteaks have been eaten in the visitors' clubhouse. And guys, you mentioned Sean Casey last night. I texted him today and said if they had been keeping the stats when he was a player, he would have certainly been on that list. So they make the greatest Philly cheesesteaks ever. He would have one before the game and take 3 or 4 on his way home for the whole series. But then I told him about Corey Hart, and he bowed down to Corey Hart's eating greatness, saying he could not consume 7 in 1 day.
Well, JD, I guarantee if you were the pregame host here and the in-game host, you'd have the record. Schumacher's on with a walk. DeSclafani dumps a bunt down, and he'll beat it out. Defensive cross-up. It gets by Harang, by the charging first baseman, and the result is the Reds have 2 on, nobody out here in the 5th.
Well, what you have over on the right side of this infield when Aaron Harang comes off the mound is 2 big lumbering offensive linemen. And what you need is somebody quick to be able to get to the first base bag. Once that ball goes by Harang, he's got to continue on to first base. Since he doesn't do that, it's going to be a base hit. So well placed. Reds have something going. Maybe a way to get some runs in here in this inning.
So here's Billy. Fly to center first time up. A walk at a single, 2 on. Franco in tied at third. Billy shows bunt. Gets it down towards third. He may beat this out. Here's the throw, and they'll get him by a step. A sacrifice for Hamilton. That puts runners at second and third for the Reds. Nice play by Ruiz to bust it out of the box and make that play.
You know, Billy Hamilton's one of those players who can make a sacrifice bunt seem interesting.
When he's on the field, just about anything is interesting when he gets to run, huh?
Hey, can we go back to the cheesesteak conversation for just a second? I mean, Jim Day, are you a wit whiz guy or a not whiz guy?
Come with that question again one more time.
Are you a wit whiz?
The cheese.
The cheese. Do they put the whiz cheese on down there?
They do not do that.
Oh, they don't do the wit whiz?
That's a true one.
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah. Although I'm not sure. You're speaking foreign language to me.
Well,
right?
I'm speaking South Philly.
All he does is eat them. He doesn't rate them.
I don't rate them or come up with words for them.
I like it.
I just eat them.
It. Phillips ripped to left, going back. Ashe reaching up. It's off the wall. 1 run scores. They'll hold DeSclafani at third, and Phillips will cruise in with another extra base hit. He's 2 for 3. He's hit the ball hard 3 more times. DeSclafani just misread it, and by the time he tried to turn it on, it was too late, so the Reds get only 1 run out of it.
Aaron Harang has tried every different pitch he's got to try to get Brandon Phillips out. It really doesn't matter where he's throwing it. That pitch is down. He hits a rope to left. He threw a pitch up to start the ball game off, a rope to right.
Here's Votto, and with first base open, they'll walk him intentionally. 1 out here in the inning, so Votto will be walked. Joey's 7th in the league and 3 passes going into tonight, and that'll bring up Frazier. So a walk, a bunt hit, a sacrifice, and a double has gotten the Reds back into a 2-2 ball game. And here comes Todd. Todd doubled back in the first to plate Phillips after his single. That got the Reds on the board, and he bounced to third last time up. From the stretch is Harang. Going into today, Bryce Harper continues to lead the league with 18 homers. Jock Peterson has just been on fire. Another mammoth home run last night. Here's another look. A little low. He's got 17. Stanton has 17. Frazier next with 16 homers. Out of play to the right side.
Pretty good job right there. Harang speeding it up on Todd Frazier. First pitch was a changeup around 85 miles an hour. And Frazier may have thought that pitch was down and looked down. But then he comes right back with one at 91 and gets Frazier just a little bit behind him. And he gets him in an 0-2 hole.
Dribbler down to short. Galvis will come to the plate, and they get the out. Good recognition by Galvis. Saw he still had a chance to get the pitcher running. Frazier will be on at first.
Well, Frazier puts his ball into play very slowly. And Ruiz, did he forget that there were bases loaded?
Might have, or might have just been on the side of the plate. Yeah.
I mean, he could have played that like a first baseman. Now, Brian Price is coming out to say, hey, you know, he blocked the plate without the ball. And I think that he just forgot that there were bases loaded and it was a tag play. It was a force play at the plate.
Either that or he was surprised Galvis ever threw it to him.
Yeah, but still, you should be standing and playing it like a first baseman.
They will challenge it. Brian will challenge it. Take a look. He's standing straddling the plate before the runner gets there. Well, by the rule of the law, he is obstructing the plate. We'll see how they rule it.
But I thought they made an exception on force plays at the plate.
Did he ever have? He never did have contact with the plate in any event.
Wasn't that the case in Miami last year with Mike Redmond and the Reds?
And the Reds. You get the feeling that Ruiz kind of shuffled his feet looking for the plate, couldn't find it, so that's when he went to the tag.
Yeah, he looks kind of guilty, though, don't you think? They have that guilty look?
Yep. What Brian Price is challenging is that Tom Hallion, the home plate umpire, did not call a violation of the collision rule. In other words,
they should have
called it but didn't do it. So the people in New York will have to rule on did or did not Hallion correctly or incorrectly not call the violation of the blocking the plate.
This is going to be very interesting because it did look like he was across the line and had a shin guard in the way of the plate, but at the same time he's waiting for a ball that is a force play at the plate. So he doesn't have to tag him anyway. Just when you think you have all the rules covered, you find something in a game that comes up that you don't have everything covered.
That's Tom Hallion on the left and Alfonso Marquez on the right as they are connected to New York as they go over the replays. Yeah, that was the other part of what we were talking about. There was a play in Florida, and then the Reds were burned in Pittsburgh. As you look at that the last time, it looks like he may have even gotten his foot on the plate for a force. Well, they're going through it in New York right now. in the balance, if the challenge is upheld, the Reds would get a run out of it. They'd still have the bases loaded and not lose an out. Otherwise, there'd be 2 away, no run scored, and the bases loaded. Just to clarify it for you, the home plate collision rule, a runner may not deviate from his direct pathway. You know that part of it. The part that Brian Price is challenging, that the catcher must have possession of the ball to block the pathway of the runner trying to score. He clearly did not. If the umpire decides that the catcher without the ball blocked the pathway of the runner, then the runner is safe. That's what Brian Price is alleging that Hallion did not do.
Well, there must be some serious discussion going on in New York for them to take this long. Because if it was cut and dried, then we would have had a decision and we would be back to playing baseball right now. It's Marquez. What is it? Did Alfonso Marquez, has he got a baseball in his cheek there?
It's either a big load of bubble gum or a lot of chaw.
Well, that's a baseball. That's not bubble gum. I mean, really. Maybe it's a cheesesteak.
And Hallion is talking to them back in New York. Here's the decision. The runner is safe. A successful challenge by Brian Price and Rob Coughlin, the Reds replay. Major Domo, and that'll bring up Ryan Sandberg, who will get an explanation of it from Hallion. So
normally, of course, you're not allowed to argue after a call has been made in New York on a replay. But Hallion, the veteran that he is going to go over and talk to Sandberg because it's a peculiar play. And he wants to make sure that the Phillies manager understands how they came to that decision in New York.
Take another look. You can
we
see.
showed you the rule. Is he blocking the plate without the ball? And he clearly is. Even on a force play. Now, if he remembered that it was a force play and he had his foot on the plate and fielded it like a first baseman, the Phillies would be in a better spot. But the Reds have been able to put a couple on the board here.
It would go as a fielder's choice. The Reds would get the run. There's still now only 1 out instead of 2, and the bases are still loaded. So Frazier gets a run batted in out of that fielder's choice. And here's Jay Bruce. One of the more lengthy replays that the Reds have had this year, 4.5 minutes. So we'll see if Bruce can help the Reds cash in. Jay, flied out, bounced out. Fastball misses inside.
You know, that's an example of a replay that you would never have contested at all, that play, if there wasn't the replay ruled in. Because he was clearly a force play. He was clearly out at the plate. And before the replay rule and that rule about not running to catch whoever came in, you wouldn't even have contested that. So that really works in the Reds' advantage, and so does this 3-0 count. I think that 4-minute break for Aaron Harag did not go over so great.
And now they've slapped up an error on the board, so they're changing it to an error on the catcher. It'll be an error on the catcher. That would mean no run batted in for Frazier.
I didn't know you could get an error for that.
It certainly is a mental error, but a physical error? I don't know.
Well, a physical error for blocking the plate without the ball. A violation of the rule, but can that be construed as an error and like missing a ground ball?
Bruce bounces one back over the bag. They'll get an out at second, on to first, and that's all the Reds will get out of the inning. An opportunity to bust it open. Reds get a run to take the lead 3-2 after the run scoring hit from Phillips and the play at the plate. much as 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot at Reds.com. Voting exclusively online this year and available on your computer, your tablet, and your smartphone. Vote early, vote often, vote Reds today at Reds.com. This is the way it shapes up right now. Holliday, Harper, Stanton, the leading vote getters in the outfield. Carpenter, Peralta, D. Gordon, who's had a tremendous year, and Gonzalez across the infield. And as usual, Buster Posey behind home plate. Zach Cozart and Frazier are two that are in the top 5, and those are the only two Reds that are within striking distance of the vote. Here's Carlos, rounded out first time up. Loop towards right center. Here comes Billy. He outruns the ball and hauls it in.
That's exactly what he did, George. Great way to put it, because that ball looked like it was going right for the gap, slicing off the bat of a right-hander, and Hamilton just simply outruns it.
Another look.
You've got the same view now that we do.
Around the batting cage today before the game, the Philly coaches, some outstanding ones. Larry Boa, Juan Samuel, and Ryan Sandberg raving about the defense that Billy Hamilton brings to the ballpark. And he's come up with 3 outstanding catches in this series. Larry did that a lot in his days as a shortstop. Here's Harang, fly to right, a short fly ball and a short right first time up. You know, Chris, in this day and age of analytics and everything else, it's still great to have some of the old time players as you go from locker room to locker room and clubhouse to clubhouse to talk to coaches like Boa. There's a bloop down to third, but Frazier will get Harang. 2 away. They follow the Reds all season long in 2015 with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replays, reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and a whole lot more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Hey, how you like your new computer?
It's working.
That's the first thing, and the most important one. I haven't seen you throw it against the wall yet.
I actually can turn it on and turn it off. I don't know if I can drop it and it can still work like the other one.
Here's Revere, 2 for 2, a triple scored in the first and a single in the third. Trying to bunt his way on. Frazier scoops, fires, got him. 2 nice plays by the Reds' third baseman, and it's a quick 1-2-3. Todd delivers first against Harang, and this is a beauty against the speedy Revere.
On the Royals, and it's baseball night in America on Fox as the Pirates battle the Braves. Coverage begins at 1:30 Eastern on your home for baseball every Saturday, Fox and Fox Sports 1. I'm Jim Day. Let's give you an update on Devin Mesoraco, and it's a significant one. Indeed, he will have surgery, but it might not be till the end of the season, George and Chris. The latest specialist that he saw was in New York, and in fact, it will be that doctor that will most likely perform that surgery on Devin Mesoraco whenever he has it. But that same specialist told the Reds that he can have the surgery at the end of the season and still make it back well in time for spring training 2016. So with that in mind, today before the game, Brian Price said not only will they work to get Devin Mesoraco back as a pinch hitter, but he will start working tomorrow with Billy Hatcher on the second position, that being left field. Working on taking fly balls, everything it takes to be a left fielder. And it might even include, in fact, it will include, if he gets through that fine, a rehab stint in the minors playing left field. Now, they said he's certainly long-term their catcher, their everyday catcher, if this surgery goes well in the future. But for 2015, they're still working on him contributing and getting his bat in the lineup, perhaps as a left fielder on certain days.
Thanks, J.D. Pena pops out to the pitcher Harang. Here's Cozart. And the other part of that package is this is an organizational decision, but it's driven really by Devin Mesoraco. He does not want to give up on this year yet, and that's a great credit to that young man.
Well, he wants to play, and what we can hope the most is that he ends up playing, and that he can play, you know, every day behind the plate like it was meant to be. It's just such a shame. This guy loves to play so much. The Reds have a lot invested in him. He's got a lot invested in him, and it's just a crazy injury that really just came out of nowhere. It's one of these that you rarely hear about, and I just hope that he's able to overcome and get back on the field.
Couldn't ask for a better teammate or a guy who cares more about the game, and the hope is he can get back and contribute this year, but more importantly, we hope when all is said and done that he is 100%.
And a leader on this club, too, and a lead by example kind of guy. But there's an oddity for Harang because he does not walk very many, but he walked the leadoff hitter in the 5th, and now he has walked the one-out batter here in the 6th. You know, you were mentioning earlier about baseball analytics and the old throwback coaches and so on. You know, in a way, Aaron Harang has a connection to baseball analytics because when he made his major league debut in 2002, 24-year-old with the Oakland A's. If you remember that team with the A's, they won 103 games that year. Tim Hudson, Mark Mulder, Barry Zito, and they had shook off the loss of veterans like, you know, Giambi and Johnny Damon and Isringhausen. They won 20 in a row at one time, and it inspired the book Moneyball. So, unfortunately for Aaron, he never made the movie because he was traded to the Reds for Jose Guillen the following year.
You know, and the one thing about Moneyball, the book and the movie, was that I mean, you could say all you want about the analytics and the numbers. They had 3 great pitchers, and that was the difference.
Absolutely, and they were all having great years.
Exactly.
And they were never mentioned in the movies.
No.
But, you know, it's interesting because that team that he was on that year, and he was up and down in 2002, but they actually won 20 games in a row, which is really hard to believe. I mean, you go to the ballpark and you won 20 games in a row. You got a lot of different heroes on a nightly basis.
0-2 to Schumacher. Slap foul the other way. Skip grounded out to the first baseman first time up. Cozart after the walk down at first with 1 away. Middle of the infield, double play depth for the Phillies. Harang to the stretch. Yes, missing wide, 1 and 2. Well, Negron, Schumacher, Bosch will all get more playing time now with Marlon Byrd on the disabled list. McGrowan started last night against the right-hander tonight. Schumacher gets the start. And the one thing we've noticed, Chris, Schumacher had a couple of starts for Brandon Phillips, a couple of starts in the outfield. He's going deeper in counts because he's at least had some at bats, so he's getting comfortable at the plate.
Well, as a pinch hitter, sometimes you've got to come out swing at the first fastball you see.
And he goes from 0-2 all the way to 3-2.
Well, you go back to the Mesoraco story. If he wants to play left field this year, I don't know how long Marlon Byrd is going to be out, but that would all of a sudden create, rather than a scarcity of left fielders, a logjam.
Be great to have his bat back, that's for sure. There goes the runner. There's ball 4. How often do you see Harang walk 2 in a row? 3 passes in the inning with 1 out. So first and second with 1 out, and here comes the pitcher, DeSclafani. Ruiz out to talk to his big right-hander. And don't forget, you can be a part of Major League Baseball's All-Star action this summer in the Queen City by visiting T-Mobile All-Stars Fan Fest, world's largest interactive baseball theme park at the Duke Energy Convention Center, July the 10th through the 14th. Purchase your tickets now at allstargame.com. Harang scoops it up. They'll get the out, but the 2 runners will advance.
Boy, DeSclafani has laid down 2 really good bunts. First one with a man on first base, he laid it down the right side of the infield, ended up getting a base hit out of it. That time he knew he had to go to the left side of the infield. He deadened it just enough to get the job done.
Congratulations from his teammates. Both Lorenzen and DeSclafani have had productive bunts in the last couple of weeks since getting into the rotation. Here's Billy. Hamilton fly to center, then sacrificed in the 5th. That came after a walk and a bunt base hit by DeSclafani. And then Phillips doubled in a run to tie the game at 2. And tied at 3rd is Franco. Even with the bag at first is Ryan Howard.
Billy Hamilton has tried very hard to keep the ball out of the air. But the report on Hamilton is, even though he's trying to keep it out of the air, he still hits too many fly balls. And you see where Harang is pitching him is up in the zone. Hamilton Hamilton needs to tell himself here, make him get the ball down, and maybe you can punch it through the infield.
Slapped the other way, and it's 0-2.
I'd almost like to see him scrunch over a little bit, crouch down like Pete Rose.
Give him the Pete look. Yep.
I mean, Pete's, up and down strike zone was about 18 inches when he got all crunched down.
Tries to get him to fish up out of the strike zone, doesn't do it. It's 1-2.
And he held that back completely flat, ready to go, so you couldn't throw it by him upstairs because he already had the plane, the horizontal plane to save.
Harang to the stretch, 2nd and 3rd for the Reds with 2 outs. Line back through the middle. That will plate 1. Rounding 3rd, coming to the plate will be Schumacher. He's going to be safe, and Billy easily goes to 2nd. So 2 big runs batted in for Billy Hamilton. That's 17 on the season, and the Reds have a 3-run lead, 5-2. Good at bat from Hamilton.
Really good at bat for Billy right there. The 2 walks come around to haunt Aaron Harang, and he got that ball down a little bit more than he had the previous 2 pitches, and Hamilton was able to get right on top of it. That ball just a little bit above the belt rather than around the letters, and Hamilton makes him pay with a 2-out base hit. Man, oh man, that's what we're talking about.
Comes Bob McClure, the pitching coach, out to talk to Harang, and for the first time there's activity in the bullpen for the Phillies. McClure veteran left-hander. 19 years as a major leaguer, part of that Milwaukee team in the early 80s, in Kansas City as well. Outstanding mentor. He's like a poker player, isn't he, Ryan? You never see him panic on the mound, Chris.
No, you sure don't.
Big deep breath, trying to collect himself, and they get time to loosen up in the bullpen.
Well, 5 runs is the most that Aaron Harang has given up since he pitched against the St. Louis Cardinals at the very end of April. So that covers the last 6 starts where his earned runs have either been 2, 1, or none in all 6 of those games.
And 5 walks equal his most walks of the season.
By far.
Yep.
Of course, one of those intentional.
Yep. Well, here's Brandon, who's had some good swings. A single to right, a liner to left, and a double to left. Pop down the right field line. It'll be out of play and in the seats. One strike to the Reds' leadoff hitter. And he's down 0-2. Great speed at second, of course, in Billy Hamilton. Intentionally walked last time, 0 for 2 on deck. And Harang approaching that 100 pitch count number, Chris. He usually somewhere around 105 or 110, so you figure this may be his last inning anyways.
They definitely will not send him back out there again. The most he's thrown all year is 112.
And the dirt will go full, and there goes Hamilton. He'll pilfer it easily. Well, Franco looked down, and by the time he looked down at his shoes, it was too late. Hamilton was sitting on third.
How can you look down with Billy Hamilton on second base?
Young ball players, huh? Even though
catcher threw it right to him. He just was 15 feet from the bag.
It'll go as a wild pitch, but even with that, they had a shot to get Hamilton, and Phillips will cash it in. Another bullet off the bat of Brandon Phillips, and the Reds will get their 6th run of the night. They lead it 6-2. 3 for 4 is Phillips. He's hit the ball hard all 4 times tonight. Is he hot or what?
I mean, he's had 4 great at-bats, 3 hits to show for it. Both pitches that he's hit upstairs, I mean, to right field, have been upstairs like that. I always go back to the Kevin Mitchell saying, you never try to pull a high pitch. And Brandon Phillips is just scalding hot.
Well, Aaron Harang will exit, and while the pitching change takes place, time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Here's Joey Votto stepping in with 2 outs and the runner on first. Jake Diekman will take over. He's pitching every game of this series in to face Votto, lefty-lefty matchup.
Believe it or not, when Jake Diekman was in high school, he was too small to play baseball. So he focused on golf. And then he outgrew his golf clubs.
He ain't small no more.
I mean, he's at least 6'4", 6'5" now.
There goes Phillips, and he'll easily steal that back. Brandon now has stolen 8 this year and has not been caught.
Well, this is what the Reds have done very well this year, and that's take advantage of teams that don't pay attention to you when you have base runners on the base paths. And it happens a lot when you bring a reliever in. Lefty specialist, he's more worried about getting Votto out than holding the runner on.
Another runner out there for the Reds to cash in. Joey down the left field line. And out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. How can you not be aware of the running game for a team that leads the league with 54 stolen bases?
Well, it happens, though. You come into a ball game and you're all hyped up and you're facing Joey Votto, former MVP. And you really don't think about the running game. You know, Brandon Phillips doesn't have a very big lead down there. You know, this is where you can get some add-on runs to completely put the game out of reach by taking advantage of these type of situations. So a hit by Votto adds another one, gives you a 5-run cushion.
Diekman to the stretch. Votto holds on it. And they say he went around. Now the Reds will strand a runner. More importantly, they cash in a few. They lead it 6-2. Local Ford dealer. Ford go further. By Meyer, find more for a healthier you at Meyer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country, and United States News and World Report's best children's hospitals. Well, after the lengthy inning, here's Anthony DeSclafani going back to work. The Reds now 6 runs, 6 hits, no errors. The Phillies 2 runs, 4 hits, and an error. Brandon Phillips continues his red-hot trip to Philly. Here's Francoeur. Bounced out to second, knocked in the first run for the Phillies in the first, and robbed of a hit on a great play by Francoeur by Frazier in the third. One ball, 2 strikes. blue over the head of a leaping effort by Cozart. It's a base hit by Francoeur.
You know, Francoeur was the guy we remember that at the peak of his career with the Atlanta Braves, he was impossible to walk.
Yep.
He would not take a base on balls for anything, so he's learned how to hit like Vladimir Guerrero, which is just about anything that he can reach with the bat, he swings at. And somehow he got a line drive base hit out of that one.
And last night he came up with 2 critical at-bats, extended at-bats. One a 10-pitch at-bat. She fouled off 5. That kept 2 rallies alive. Steve Henderson, the hitting coach here, has said he's been nothing but positive and a great addition to this young club, serving as a mentor to some of the young players.
That's an important comment that Hindu made there, George, because you can't have a club of all rookies.
Yep.
Because they don't learn from anybody. So you got to have some, and they can't just learn from coaches. You got to have some veteran guys playing beside them. So a lot of people may look at Francoeur and say, why is he still playing? I mean, he's obviously lost a lot of his skills and so on and so forth, but you know, you play a part in the development of that next generation of ball player.
Always talkative, very likable, and well liked by players around the league. From the stretch, DeSclafani. That misses. 2 balls and 1 strike. Base running mistake for Francoeur last time when he was on first and Utley was at the plate. Utley hit a fly ball to left. Francoeur tried to advance with 2 outs from first to second, and Schumacher threw him out. Final out of the inning.
You know, I don't know if it was as much a mistake, George, as it was just a misread. I think he probably didn't realize how alert Schumacher is. And some outfielders are going to just catch that fly ball and, you know, be ready to flip it back into the infield. Schumacher all along was ready just in case.
A veteran Francoeur should know that the veteran Schumacher does it that way. Yeah, funny, Chris, you and I, you know, you remarked last night when Francoeur bluffed a bunt, you know, that he had only 1 sacrifice bunt in his career around the batting cage today. He's in the cage and overcame Frazier, and Francoeur yelled to him. He says, "How about that bunt attempt last night?" And Frazier said, "Yeah." He said, "You know, I don't know what the heck I did. I must have brain cramped." He said, "No way I was going to bunt that ball."
I think we knew that.
Yep. And Frazier said, "I think I knew it too."
I mean, 1 sacrifice in his career.
Always been a good teammate.
Probably on a pitch way out of the strike zone.
Yeah, you're right. Here's the 3-2. Will the runner be going? He's not. Fly ball to left. Schumacher there. This time Francoeur goes halfway and will retreat to first. 1 out, 1 on, and here comes Ryan Howard. Hey, get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio with all the info you need for that day's game. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Kent Dreamweaver always taking care of business with Ron Millenor back home in the studio. And don't forget, pregame, postgame, Jeff Pecoro, Brian Giesenslaw there to keep you up to date on the full story of Reds baseball. Here's Ryan. Robbed of a hit in the first and popped up to short in the fourth. Howard, long look at Pete Buchanan to see what Francoeur might be doing at first as Buchanan rolls through his signs. There's the 0-1. You look at the Phillies and where they are right now. You mentioned Francoeur being a mentor to some of the young players, but it's a team that's still trying to rebuild and make deals for players like Howard, like Cole Hamels. Bounce down to first. Votto will go to second for 1. On to first. They'll turn it. 3-6-3 double play. DeSclafani gets out of the leadoff base hit. Reds still lead at 6-2. When we return, Frazier to the bat rack. scoreboard so far for the Reds in the first. Phillips continued his hot hitting with a base hit. Frazier doubles them in, 1-0 Cincinnati. The Reds tie the game at 2 in the 5th inning as Phillips, who's got 3 hits already and has hit the ball hard 4 times, doubles to left, ties the game at 2. Later in the inning, Skip Schumacher, DeSclafani comes home to score with Schumacher behind him on a play that was overruled after challenged by Brian Price that the home plate was blocked. And the final scoring for the Reds to make it impressive in the 6th was 3 runs led by a Billy Hamilton 2-run single to center to make it 5-2. Then 6-2 is where we stand. Here's Frazier after going 0 for 10 in the first 2 games of the series. That double got the Reds rolling. He was at the plate on the play that was ruled a fielder's choice, an error, when the Reds scored the run as DeSclafani scored, and the challenge was upheld by Brian Price that the catcher Ruiz blocked home plate without the ball. Diekman from the stretch. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, this guy gives you lots of arms and legs. I mean, he's got long arms and legs. He's stepping one way, throwing another way. I mean, he's stepping over towards the dugout on the first base side. And he kind of crossfires you. I don't think Frazier saw one pitch in that at bat.
Diekman struck out Votto for the 2nd time in the series to end the 6th, and he gets his 2nd consecutive strikeout here in the 7th. And that'll bring up Jay Bruce. Jay popped up, grounded out, and then grounded into a double play. Reds head home after tonight. Padres come to town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Raisel Iglesias goes Friday, Michael Lorenzen Saturday, and Johnny Cueto on Sunday. And then these Phillies come to town. Johnny be good. Cueto will try to even his record at 4-4. Should have had number 4 in the first game of the series. 2 bizarre endings for the Reds in games 1 and 2 of this series. And after winning 3 against Washington, they could have a 5-game win streak rolling right now. And Chris, you've been there, and there's a walk to Bruce, and now for the 17th straight game, Bruce is on by either a hit or a walk. The difficulty isn't the 3-game win streaks. It's coming back from 2 losses like the Reds have had the last 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, for every one you lose, I mean, when you're where the Reds are, and looking up at every team in the division except one, you can't worry about the big picture yet. You just got to worry about tonight. And don't worry about last night. And I think it's very important to be able to wipe the slate clean and believe in yourselves. I think it's going to be a very important home series when the Reds come back. You're going to play a Padre team that, if you've been following the Padres at all over the last few years, well, bring your scorecard, because there aren't going to be too many players you recognize from years past. A complete makeover they had.
It's up high 2-0.
And now you see why Diekman is a guy that has given up a few runs this year. He was in 73 games last year, had a terrific year, good earned run average, but he walks about a batter every other inning. And when Ryan Sandberg goes to the bullpen, that's about the last thing a manager wants, is the unknown of maybe a base on balls.
They have some lively arms in this bullpen that currently in earned run average ranks 5th in the league. Bob McClure next to Ryan Sandberg on the bench, and they've got the runner picked, and he'll be out at second. Bruce is nailed at second.
I'll tell you, he almost outran that play. It took a long time for Ryan Howard to get rid of that baseball. He kept running in towards the pitcher's mound to get a throwing angle so that he wouldn't hit Bruce in the back, but it took a long time. Bruce does the right thing. Let's see how he runs inside the bag a little bit. That's a smart play by Bruce. I mean, by running inside right on the edge of the grass, he cut that throwing angle off by Ryan Howard, and Howard almost got the ball there too late. Now, a faster runner like Billy Hamilton,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you take a big lead and just go. And then see if the first baseman can throw you out, because that's what it comes down to.
That's the word that Billy Hatcher continues to give to Billy Hamilton. If you get picked off, don't worry. Just keep running. And more than probably 3/4 of the time, you're going to beat the throw to second. Jay Bruce shy by about a step. Nailed it second. So 2 away now. And Pena stretches it out to 2 balls, 2 strikes. You know, when you're a leadoff hitter, the microscope is always on you, especially for a team that struggled when Billy was at the top of the order. But as you go around the league and talk to other coaches, other players, other managers, they realize how good this player can be. Down to short, Galvis has it. Pena's retired. Reds get a walk, nothing to show for it. To the bottom of 7 we go. Franco due up. Rookies throughout Major League Baseball, and what a year for this week, at least, for the rookies that the Reds have seen. Franco, Peterson, and Gallo. Franco, you know about, game-tying home run the last 2 games for the Phillies. Jock Peterson, another 400-plus home run last night, second in the league in homers. And Joey Gallo, called up by the Rangers this week, first Ranger to homer in each of his first 2 career games. Boy, you talk about an uppercut swing. Does he have a beautiful swing?
Got some outrageous power.
Chris Bryant's been on fire as well. And the Cubs and Chris will be coming to town after the Padres leave town. Coming to Cincinnati to take on the Reds. And, of course, the Reds will be traveling to Chicago, rather, and then to Detroit after this next homestand when San Diego and Philadelphia come in. Then the Reds head to Chicago, head to Detroit, and the Tigers come back to Cincinnati, followed by Miami. Here is Franco. Double to center field to knock in the go-ahead run in the first to make it 2-1 Phillies. And he flied to center next time up. Sometimes players prove the numbers correct as you watch them play. Sometimes they don't. In Franco's case, if you look at the numbers on him on the year, on pitches on the inner part of the plate, he's hitting about 345. Pitches on the outer part of the plate, about 200. And the damage he's done in this series, Chris, has been the inner part of the plate.
Oh, you're right about that, especially the home run balls. One a hanging slider by Jumbo Diaz, another low-end fastball by Chapman.
Over the mound, here comes Phillips. Quick flip, got him. One away here in the 7th. That'll bring up Cody Ashe, fly to center and walked. So far, so good for Anthony. Little by little, you see him mature and grow with each start.
He's really settled down in this own start. I mean, I think you hit it right on the head, George, when you said early on he's probably a little amped up. A lot of family and friends. You know, we've mentioned how he grew up nearby here. Has at least 30 of them in the ballpark that he knows about because those are the ones he left tickets for. So he came out maybe overthrowing a little bit in the first inning and the second inning, but he really settled down, and now you can see, you know, he's much more comfortable, kind of settled in, changing speeds, keeping the ball down, not overthrowing, all the things you wish you could do from the very first pitch of the game.
What was it like the first time you came back to pitch in Cincinnati?
I was scared to death. I was facing Tom Seaver.
Yeah.
And I faced my old amateur coach who never played me, ever. And when I was warming up, he yelled over the stands. He said, "Hey, Chris, I knew you were going to make it." I said, well, why didn't you play me? He said, well, those other guys were good.
Not that you remember that at all.
I said, I'm facing Seaver tonight. I did not get the win, by the way.
By the way. Was Big Dan in charge of tickets that night? Was your dad in charge of tickets?
You know, the good thing about those days, George, is the players did not get charged for tickets.
Yeah, you're right.
So we didn't have to pay anything for the tickets. So you could, you know, borrow them from other players, and not too many guys on the San Diego team had connections in Cincinnati, so I had all the tickets I needed.
I wasn't there for your first game in Cincinnati returning, but I was there for your first game as a broadcaster, and to see the look on your dad's face was pretty special.
Yeah,
he was so proud of you.
Huge fan, big fan, and not of me. Of me, yes, you're always a fan of your kids, but you know, just a huge baseball fan. Love the Reds, just love baseball.
2 away, swing and a foul ball off the bat of Freddie Galvis. Galvis flied to left, popped to short, 0 for 2.
You went with him to a ball game, George. You were the first one in the park, and you were the last one to leave, and it didn't matter what the score was. You were not leaving early.
That's what you did. And that's where you learn about baseball, too. You know, when you're sitting and talking with before a game with Billy Hatcher today or yesterday in the coach's office with Larry Boa, they said the same things. They learned about the game with their dad and then in the clubhouse. I mean, when you grew up in the game too, people stayed in the clubhouse for 2-3 hours after a game. Different today. For a lot of reasons. I mean, it's a different world. It's a different game. And there is no other game like it. It's a physical game, but it's a mental game as well. And you learn the finer points of the game from the veterans that you play with.
Well, I mean, the guy at the plate's an example of a terrific physical specimen and a great athlete. And they're just kind of waiting for him to come along from a baseball sense. Same with Franco, the third baseman who plays next door to him. I mean, he made the one mental mistake where he put his head down and Billy Hamilton stole a base on him. So those are the kind of things that you get with age and you get with experience, but you also get with, you know, discussing the game and talking about it and remembering how you should have been embarrassed when Hamilton picked your pocket. And you're not going to ever let it happen again, ever.
And that's not the job of a manager or coach. It's the job of your teammates to really bring that up more than anything. Players run teams.
Yeah, you don't want to let your teammates down.
Yep. Jumbo loosening in the bullpen. 9th pitch of this at bat as Galvis continues to hang in there.
Yeah, that's been a whole inning's worth normally for DeSclafani. He's been so efficient.
He's hanging.
I'd like to see Billy Hamilton do this a lot more, which is just foul the ball off and, you know, be pesky. You know, the Brett Butler type pesky.
Finally wins the battle, does Anthony. Phillips there. He'll haul it in. It's a 1-2-3, if not a lengthy inning, due to the great at bat. Now, look at the applause for DeSclafani from his family. On the complete story of this one when it's all over, back in the spanking new studio back in the Queen City. Great to have you with us, George Grant, Chris Welsh, Jim Day here. The Reds lead it 6-2. For the Reds, here comes Zach Cozart. Justin DeFreitas takes over for the Phils. Down in the truck as usual, Josh Hall's our producer. Brian Hunterman's on this trip. He's our director. Jim Miller giving us some graphics for tonight's ball game as well. Broken bat toward short. Galvis scoops, flips, and they'll get Cozart by a step. You talk about night to remember. As DeSclafani left, Chris, family and friends gave him a great ovation, and he acknowledged as he hit the dugout steps.
That's exciting.
That's neat. Isn't that great? That's super.
Yeah, the only downside is that the Reds are leaving Philly right after the ball game tonight. Of course, Anthony will be on the charter plane back to Cincinnati, and he'd probably like to hang out with his friends and family tonight. What a great moment.
Yep.
Great kid, too. I mean, you got to know him, too, George.
Yep.
We got to know him very well in spring training, and just a top-notch individual.
He's got a presence about him, too. He wants to do everything right. There's Schumacher, bounced to first and walked twice. Leadoff walk in the 5th inning started the Reds rally where they took the lead 3-2. And he walked on a 3-2 pitch in the 6th and later scored. Talk about doing things right. That's what this guy's done every place he's been. Plays the game right, a good teammate. Fundamentally, every place you put him, outfield or infield. Learned how to play second base when he was with the Cardinals.
You know, it's not easy being a leader if you're an extra player, an extra guy. Usually leaders are not only, you know, big characters, but they're also really good players. But Schumacher comes about as close as you can get in that role. just by being ready to play all the time.
Full count, 3-2.
I mean, to prepare yourself every day to sit the bench, I mean, but you have to prepare yourself like you're playing that day.
Beat him with a fastball, 2 away.
Little deception there for DeFreitas.
With 2 outs and another look.
Just a little wrist flip at the very end of this ball. Get some action on it. Not a lot of movement, but evidently some deception there. That ball went right by him.
Anthony will hit here in the 8th inning. DeSclafani with 2 outs to the plate. Reds lead it 6-2. He's had a part in the Reds rallies tonight. An attempted sacrifice that turned into a bunt hit, and then another sacrifice. 2 good bunts from Anthony. And a big swing and fouled off. 6 runs, 6 hits for the Reds, 2 runs, 5 hits for the Phillies. The scoreboard the last 2 nights showed the Reds at the short end of the stick when it was all said and done, but the Reds have had 3 outstanding starting performances in this series. And make it really 6 straight good starting performances. Cueto was great on game 1. Leak was great yesterday, and Anthony was outstanding, has been great tonight. Big swing, and that'll do it. It's a 1, 2, 3, 8. To the bottom of 8 we go. Bottom of the order, Ruiz will lead it off. Anthony DeSclafani, Chris, has been right on all night long for the Reds.
Well, he started off a little bit on the rough side because they were really centering the ball up early on, but he got better and better as the night has gone on, stronger as the night's gone on. He's had some good defensive plays behind him, but he has done his part here. The Reds have given him a few runs with which to work, so he's got some breathing room, and he continues to go out there and deal for the Reds as he will start the 8th inning. 7 innings of 5-hit 2-run baseball. Has not struck out a batter. Kind of interesting because he only struck out 1 batter his last outing. That was against the Nationals. But maybe strikeouts are all sizzle and really maybe a little bit overrated.
We'll take the steak. our steel power tool performer, Anthony DeSclafani, going to work here in the bottom of 8. Carlos Ruiz will lead it off. Cesar Hernandez has moved into the on-deck circle with the pitcher spot due up next, and the Reds start to get action going in the bullpen here in the 8th inning. Two balls and a strike to Carlos, who bounced to short, robbed of a hit on a nice play by Hamilton as Tony Cingrani loosens in the bullpen. Oh, he's 0 for 2. He joined us late. Reds led 1-0 in the first. Phillips a single, Frazier a double to make it 1-0. Phillies in the bottom of the first took the lead 2-1. A triple by Revere and a ground out, and then a double by Franco. 2-1 Phillies after 1. Reds tied it on a double by Phillips in the 5th inning, and then took the lead on a challenge play by Brian Price. Challenge and a play at the plate. He challenged that the home plate umpire Tom Hallion did not correctly call blocking at the plate, and after conferring with New York, the challenge was upheld. The Reds led 3-2. That prolonged the inning to give the Reds the lead, and then in the 6th, Billy Hamilton had a 2-run scoring base hit to make it 5-2, and Phillips continued his hot hitting with another base hit to make it 6-2. Brandon's 3 for 4. That's a broken bat into center, a base hit for Ruiz. Well, the leadoff hitter is on here in the 8th.
Or sometimes you make a great pitch and it gets a bad result. Ruiz will gladly trade a broken bat for a base hit the way he's been swinging it in this series. He's not really been in the middle of much of anything.
Cesar Hernandez will pinch hit. Jeff Pico will trot out to talk to DeSclafani as Cingrani continues to loosen. By the way, don't forget tomorrow night, be part of the Reds fan cam with Fox Sports Ohio's Christine Sheltown and Mo Egger from 700 WOW at the Holy Grail. Your chance to answer Reds trivia, win prizes, be part of Reds Live. Fun gets started Friday night at 6 at the Holy Grail. Join Mo and the gang, have some fun. Hernandez, good speed at the plate.
This is kind of a similar situation to what happened last night. We're in the 8th inning and not the 9th inning. It was the 9th inning that Mike Leake went out, gave up a couple of base hits to start it off, and then brought Chapman in. Still had a 4-run lead at that point. Reds have a 4-run lead right now. Nobody out, man on. So I imagine with Cingrani up, you're looking at DeSclafani's last batter. Maybe he gets a ground ball double play here.
86 at bat of the season for Cesar Hernandez. He's got a homer and 9 knocked in. Breaking ball misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And we'll go full 3-2.
Tell you what, this young man, Sir Hernandez, has a pretty good eye. Four-run lead, throw him a strike, see how far he can hit it.
Ruiz short lead off first. And that's a walk. So a base hit and a walk. 2 on, and that'll be it for Anthony as Brian Price is on his way out. So DeSclafani goes 7+, allows the first 2 to reach here in the 8th, and on his way in will be Tony Cingrani. Anthony did his job tonight. He's allowed 6 hits in those 2 runs. It's a nice round of applause from his family and friends again. And it's the Reds' job here in the 8th inning for the bullpen to slam the door and keep it where it is. We'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Stick around after the game for that great, spectacular Fireworks Friday show presented by Kroger and Reds Home Team Products. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Handshakes, applause as he hit the dugout steps and gets a big handshake from Jay Bell. Did his job tonight. He's allowed only 2 runs on 6 hits. He gives it up to the bullpen as Tony Cingrani comes in to face the top of the order. Revere, Francoeur, Utley, and Howard due up. As Cingrani will try to keep it where it is for the young right-hander who's pitched so well tonight. Your report card on DeSclafani, Chris.
Well, George, you know the scoreboard gives you the report card. Right now he's up by 4 and takes his team into the 8th inning. That's an excellent outing for anybody, much less a rookie like DeSclafani. But he'd like to see Cingrani get out of this without adding any of those earned run on that would make his earning go up a little bit. Cingrani had a little bad taste in his mouth a couple of games ago. He pitched a third of an inning. He gave up a couple of hits and a run. He ended up getting saddled with the loss first night in.
So he'll face Revere, and there is strike 1. Revere a lefty, Francoeur a righty, and then Utley and Howard. And one of the reasons why Cingrani's in there, Utley and Howard are hitless against Cingrani.
And that's also the reason why there is no one else throwing in the Reds bullpen.
2 on, nobody out. Revere, outstanding speed, tough to double up. Revere tonight tripled in the first and scored, singled in the third, and bounced out in the 5th.
At this point, the Reds are looking for outs. Cingrani simply looking for strikes.
1 ball, 1 strike. Francoeur on deck.
Thank you very much.
1-2. Janmar Gomez, the right-hander, Rahu, the left-hander, loosening. In the Phillies bullpen, no action in the Reds pen. Line drive, it's a fair ball down the line. Schumacher will try to cut it off. 1 run will score. They'll hold the runner at third, and now it's second and third. Still no one out, and it's a 6-3 game.
And that would mean the tying run coming to the plate. Boy, Ben Revere, he just slices this ball right down the left field line. A little 2-strike swing right there, protecting, and he gets it fair. Boy, the Phillies did that last night. I think it was Ashe that did that. They just don't want to go away, these Phillies.
Here's Francoeur, who's 1 for 3 in his matchups with Cingrani. Utley on deck and Howard to follow. Francoeur tonight bounced out to second to knock in the first run for the Phillies in the first.
Well, you know what this guy's trying to do, and that is leave the yard.
3 homers, 13 knocked in for Francoeur. What Cingrani will love here is a strikeout.
That's a little better for Cingrani right there. It looks like a little more aggressive pitch than he threw in any of the pitches in the at-bat to Revere. I like his fastball when it's up in the zone. They chase it, they don't seem to catch up to it.
No balls, 2 strikes. Got him. 3 quick, zip, 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 1 away.
Well, it's such a good pitch and a strikeout pitch by Tony Cingrani. We will call that our flamethrower, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce.
1 away, and here comes Utley. Utley at his matchups against Cingrani is 0 for 6. Behind him, Howard is 0 for 5. Utley tonight, double to right in the first. Flied out twice to left. In the dirt, good block by Pena. Talk about pitching adjustments, and over his career, nobody's been better at making hitting adjustments than number 26. He'll shorten his swing, and he'll take what you give him. Been true in this series as well. To the stretch, Cingrani. Here's the 1-ball delivery. High in the air to left. That's going to stay in the park. It will get a run home probably, though. Tagging at third and scoring easily to make it 6-4. And the runner holds at second. So a sacrifice fly from Utley makes it a 2-run game.
Well, the shame of that is that those are DeSclafani's runs.
Utley gets the run batted in, his 24th of the year. Hernandez crosses the plate, and sitting out at second is Revere. That'll bring up Howard. And as you say, Chris, the Reds just looking for outs right here. Ryan tonight bounced out, popped up, and bounced into a double play. Cingrani to the stretch. Here's the 0-1. And taking third without a throw will be Revere. No stolen base defensive indifference, as Frazier was wide of the bag, and now with a runner on third, he'll go all the way to the shortstop spot as they completely overshift on Howard. That's the one that Cingrani wanted. He wouldn't fish for it, and he missed the strike, so it's 1-2. The shift robbed Howard of a base hit in the 4th inning. Got him. Now they'll strand the runner at third. 2-run score. The Reds still hold on to a 2-run lead. We're going to the 9th. Reds lead at 6-4.
you stick around for complete coverage of tonight's NBA Finals. Game 1, Cavs look to win their first ever NBA championship. Cavs Live will have extensive highlights, analysis, interviews, all following Reds Live right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
I don't know about you, Chris, but, you know, I mean, Curry's had a great year. Harden had a great year. But LeBron's the MVP in the NBA.
Well, ask yourself this question. If you put Curry on the Cavs, would the Cavs be where they are right now? I don't know the answers, but I can ask good questions. That's Genmar Gomez, new Philly pitcher.
So Genmar will come in for the 3rd time in this series. As we go to the 9th inning, Billy Hamilton hitting in the 9th spot will lead it off. Billy, big part of the Reds' rally in the 6th inning, had a 2-out base hit to make it 5-2 Cincinnati. Phillips followed with a base hit to make it 6-2. And tied at 3rd is Franco. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Hamilton in his other 2 at-bats fly to center and successfully sacrificed back in the 5th. 6 runs, 6 hits for the Reds, 4 runs, 7 hits for the Phillies. It's a Philly bullpen that has some lively arms.
And they really thought that the bullpen was going to be one of the strengths of their ball club. Right now it's, you know, let them down a little bit. But we have seen some very good arms.
Center field. Right there is Revere. Squeeze it for the first out of the 9th. Reds head to the airport after this one tonight. Raisel Iglesias will go against Tyson Ross tomorrow as the Padres come to town back at Great American Ballpark. Reds Live at 6:30. The game will follow. The Saturday game is a 4 o'clock game. The Sunday a 1 o'clock game. Back next week when the Phillies come to town. Monday it'll be Mike Leake against Cole Hamels, rematch of last night. Tuesday it'll be Anthony DeSclafani against Aaron Harang, a rematch of tonight. Look out.
I'm telling you, even the foul balls are hit hard.
How many times have we seen over the years when they put that guy in the leadoff spot? Dusty Baker did it first, and he's helped to turn the Reds around offensively, and he's done it in this series again.
He has, but, you know, I mean, the numbers will tell you that, but I can't remember a 3-game stretch where Brandon Phillips has hit the ball hard every time up except maybe once.
You're right.
I think the bat is swinging itself.
Let the force be with you.
And the other part of it is that you got Votto behind him who's swinging the bat nearly as well. So what do you do if you're pitching? You can't really pitch around Brandon because then you got Votto coming up. I'm not talking about, you know, Genmar Gomez here in the 9th inning, a couple of runs down. I'm talking about like the starter.
How about this? I mean, you got Billy Hamilton in the 9th spot right now. How about Phillips leading off, Hamilton after Phillips, and then Votto? 1, 2, 3 there.
I think they like it the way it is because it's getting Votto up there with a chance of having Billy on and I mean Brandon too. I kind of like it the way it is, but I mean that's I don't think it's a perfect science. That's for sure.
No.
Or else you wouldn't see managers experiment. And Brian has done his fair amount of experimenting, and not just because he's fiddling around, but because they need some change. I mean, Billy didn't fit well in the first spot. You got to be patient with Hamilton, though. You really do. 24 years old. He never really spent a lot of time at AAA. I mean, he's still learning on the job, and I think that, you know, if you're hasty to make a decision about the development of Billy Hamilton, all you got to do is go back and look at you know, early years of some other players.
He's going to be
start
fine.
Doing some comparing, and you will come to the conclusion he will be fine. Just needs to kind of come along a little bit.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Brandon. High fly ball to center field. Revere under it. First 2 outs of the inning go to the center fielder, and here comes Joey. Phillips tonight, a single, a double, a single. 2 more runs batted in. And he continues to hit nearly 400 on the road. Votto tonight flied out, bounced out, intentionally walked, and struck out.
You know, you look at this is where a box score can really be misleading, because Votto smoked the ball to the center fielder in the first inning. His ground out was a backhanded stab by Utley, grabbing it just before it went into the outfield for a double, righted himself and threw him out by a couple of steps. I mean, 2 really good plays to get Votto out. And the strikeout was a check swing that he probably still doesn't agree with.
And an appeal down to third.
So he could disagree with it twice.
Sliced into left center. There's Ashe. He'll glove it. Last roundup time. The Reds by 2 as we go to the bottom of 9, and Chapman's on his way in. Brotherly love. Cincinnati Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. Last roundup time for the Phillies, and the Reds will call upon Aroldis Chapman to try to close the door in the 9th inning. Franco, Ashe, Galvis due up here in Philadelphia as the Reds trying to do something they've had a tough time doing. That's winning a game here. They are 8-28 since 2006 here in Citizens Bank Park. And Aroldis Chapman last night, one of the few nights when the Reds have called upon him to slam the door, and he didn't do it, Chris, but he's right back in the saddle tonight.
The first blown save of the year for Chapman. That's the bad news. The good news is it doesn't happen very often at all, and he will be facing in the first batter the villain of last night's ball game, and the villain really of the night before. Home runs in each of the last 2 nights to really spur the Phillies on.
In the 9th last night, Franco, a home run, a 3-run shot to tie it at 4. And the Phillies eventually won it in the 11th. The night before, he had a home run to tie it at 4 in the 8th. Big swing, and it's 0-2. Looking fastball, he wrinkled one, and he was way out in front.
Well, if you're wondering after Chapman, who had a long inning last night, whether he's got anything left, he threw 24 pitches last night. Comes right back that last pitch at 101.
Zippo, one out here in the ninth. And last night it was pretty clear Mike Leake after the game said, you know, that lengthy inning before when the Reds in the 8th inning had a rally going, then in the top of the 9th they had a rally going. He said yes, they did cool off a little bit, and that may have affected him as he gave up in the 9th inning the first 2 batters to base hits.
Well, it was probably a mental cooling off.
Yep.
Because that doesn't happen physically. It happens mentally to a pitcher that sits in the dugout a long time. Your mind starts to wander. You almost would rather pitch in a 1-0 ball game that takes 2 hours and 20 minutes. So you get your 3 guys out, the other guy gets his 3 guys out, and you're right back out there.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Ashe. Flied out, walk, popped out. Not missing by much. That one misses 2-2. And yes, if Brian Price had his druthers, he'd like to give Chapman a clean inning with no one on base to bring him in.
And use him 3 times a week.
Yep. Doesn't work out that way.
As a closer.
Yep. Big swing, and that'll take care of the 2nd out of the inning. Got anything left after yesterday? 101, 102. This prideful Cuban didn't like the taste left in his mouth last night either. There's the strike. Galvis popped up twice and flied out once, 0 for 3. Strike with a shortstop. Out behind the plate, giving chase is Pena. It'll be on top of the dugout. Ball and 2 strikes. Well, when you add things up, Chris, if it stays the way it is, the Reds will have won only 1 of the 3 games here. But the good news is they had 2 brilliant starting performances in the 2 games they lost, and another good starting performance today.
You're good at finding that silver lining. You always have been.
It's a long season.
It is a long season, and that's really, you know, it's worth taking a step back and remembering that.
That's the way to end it. Chappie leaves him happy finally here in Philadelphia. And a big smile for Chapman and a big smile for Brian Pena, his catcher, as the Reds behind Brandon Phillips, Billy Hamilton and company come home with the victory 6-4 in the final game of the series. And just like we promised you earlier in the game, time for our Miller Time moment, brought to you by Miller Lite. How about 8 for 15 in the series, Chris, for Mr. Brandon Phillips?
Well, I'll tell you, on fire is another way to put it for Brandon Phillips. I mean, everything he hit was hit hard. Even when he didn't hit it hard like that, it did fall in for base hits. For the most part, it sounded like somebody stacking firewood when he came to the plate in this series.
8 for 15 is Brandon Phillips, and today another example of how he helped turn this game around. He tied the game with a double in the 5th. He gave the Reds a 6-2 lead in the 6th. End result, Brandon Phillips and the Reds come home 6 runs, 6 hits, no errors, and the Phillies 4 runs, 7 hits, and an error. 21,057 in the ballpark for this one tonight. And for Brandon Phillips, pretty good numbers. 3 doubles, 4 runs batted in, 4 runs scored. For number 4, Brandon Phillips, as the Reds win the final of this series. And wrap this one up on the smiling side of the scoreboard before they head home.